Bun găsit tuturor! Sunt Alina Dima, gazda dumneavoastră. Știți, călătoriile pot crea dependență. Sunteți de acord cu mine? Dacă da, vă spun așa. Vă propun de această dată să pornim într-o expediție în Asia Centrală, în cea de-a noua țară ca mărime din lume. Ce o caracterizează? Natura impresionantă, gastronomia și ospitalitatea oamenilor. Vă propun să pornim într-o super aventură în Kazahstan.
The Silkway Road fascinated for centuries the mind and souls of writers and ordinary people alike. We can let ourselves get carried by our imagination and travel with the thought on this famous road that passed through vast territories, and the merchants with their loyal camels carried precious goods, from spices and silk to gold and precious stones. Of course, things have changed throughout history. The geography of the territories has gained new valences and boundaries. But what I want is for us to go together on the old Silk Road, and I would love to show you how it is today in one of the fascinating countries of Central Asia. But first of all, let me tell you some interesting facts about the country of the Great Steppe. Kazakhstan is the world's largest landlocked country and the 9th largest in the world, with an area of more than 2,800,000 square kilometers. It is a transcontinental country largely located in Asia. The most western parts are in Europe. Kazakhstan is the dominant nation of Central Asia economically, generating 60% of the region's GDP, primarily through its oil and gas industry. Kazakhstan shares borders with Russia, China, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, and Turkmenistan, and also adjoins a large part of the Caspian Sea. The terrain of Kazakhstan includes flatlands, steppe, taiga, rock canyons, hills, deltas, snow-capped mountains, and deserts. Kazakhstan has an estimated 18.3 million people as of 2018. Given its large land area, its population density is amongst the lowest, at less than 6 people per square kilometer. The capital is Nur-Sultan. Until 2019 it was called Astana, where it was moved in 1997 from Almaty, the country's largest city. The territory of Kazakhstan has historically been inhabited by nomadic groups and empires. In the 13th century, the territory joined the Mongolian Empire under Genghis Khan. By the 16th century, the Kazakh emerged as a distinct group, divided into 3 Jews, ancestor branches occupying specific territories. The Russians began advancing into the Kazakh steppe in the 18th century, and by the mid-19th century, they nominally ruled all of Kazakhstan as part of the Russian Empire. Following the 1917 Russian Revolution and subsequent civil war, the territory of Kazakhstan was reorganized several times. In 1936, it was made the Kazakh Soviet Socialist Republic, part of the Soviet Union, and in 1991 it declared its independence. The biggest city, Almaty, is almost reminiscent of Europe, with its leafy avenues, chic museums, glossy shopping centers, and hedonistic nightlife. The capital, Nur-Sultan, on the windswept northern steppe, has been transformed into a 21st century showpiece with a profusion of bold futuristic architecture. But it's beyond the cities that you'll find the greatest travel adventures. Whether hiking in the high mountains, seeking for wildlife in the lake-dotted steppe, enjoying homespun hospitality in village guest houses, or jolting across the western deserts to remote underground mosques. And because we have to give Caesar what is Caesar's, I want you to meet a city that almost seems like the decor of a sci-fi movie about a distant future, which, guess what, it's 100% real and rooted in the present. Astana, or Nur-Sultan, the capital of the steppe country. The country's new capital has risen fast from the northern steppe and is already a showpiece for 21st century Kazakhstan. On the 6th of May 1998, it was renamed Astana, which means capital city in Kazakh. On the 20th of March 2019, the capital again was renamed from Astana to its current name, Nur-Sultan, in honor of the long-ruling Kazakh president Nursultan Nazarbayev. Branding aside, the Kazakh capital is scheduled to go on rising and spreading into a city of over 1 million people by 2030. Its skyline grows more fantastical by the year, and landmark buildings, many of them by leading international architects, sprout along the wide boulevards in a variety of Asian, Western, Soviet, and wacky futuristic styles. Several spectacular structures are open to visitors, and it's hard not to be impressed by the very concept of this Singapore of the steppe. Now, I would like to invite you to an absolutely fabulous space, a museum that tells the whole story of Kazakhstan, with all its tribes and historical nationalities, traditions, archaeological discoveries, and yurts in which the nomads once lived. The museum is by far different than what you would expect, but we will see it together immediately. Visitors are welcomed into the grandiose entry hall by a giant golden eagle soaring over the vast map of the country. The National Museum of the Republic of Kazakhstan is the youngest and largest museum in Central Asia. The museum is located on the main square of the country, the Independence Square. This huge blue glass and white marble museum covers the history and culture of Kazakhstan from ancient to modern times. Themed halls comprise interactive displays and artifact exhibits, ranging from a yurt in the Hall of Ethnography to a chronicle of the capital's modern history in the Hall of Astana. Don't miss the Golden Hall, which houses several thousand Bronze Age ornaments from the famed Golden Man, a national symbol of Kazakhstan, a 3rd or 4th century warrior whose gold-clad remains were uncovered in 1969. There are more such golden warriors in the museum, some of them being buried alongside their horses, beautifully embellished with gold jewelry and harnesses. A tomb of a princely family was discovered where, besides the princes, there were 13 horses buried. Given the nomadic history of the Kazakhs, they have always had a special relationship with their horses. What will surely impress you is the Tree of Life, one of the most important symbols of the Kazakh mythology, of course, in a futuristic representation. You will witness an impressive show of lights and music. And since we are still visiting some museums in the city, I propose to visit another Astana wonder. And when I say wonder, believe me, it's really wow. Perhaps one of the most avant-garde and futuristic museums you'll ever see. Perhaps all Kazakhstanis nowadays know what the Nuralem Pavilion is, and many people outside Kazakhstan too. It is the most popular and visited facility of the International Specialized Exhibition Expo 2017. It has become not only the symbol of Astana, but of the entire Kazakhstan. Situated in the heart of the expo complex, the Nuralem Pavilion is a sphere of 80 meters diameter and 100 meters height. It is the world's largest spherical building. The man behind the idea of the sphere, German architect Albert Speer Jr., says it epitomizes the last drop of oil and the era when the humankind will switch to the future energy. At the first floor of the building, in the Pavilion of Kazakhstan, visitors are able to acquaint themselves with the history, culture, tradition, and places of interest in the country. In the sphere itself, the museum future is situated. And here, the madness begins, in the most beautiful and interesting way possible. You will witness the birth of the sun of our solar system throughout a 360-degree experience. You will feel like the first astronauts who landed on the moon, and you will see what a space station looks like. You will even have the opportunity to have a conversation with one of the cutest robots present in the museum.
What you may?
What's your name?
My name is exclamation mark.
Nice to meet you.
What do you mean? Meet you or nice you?
Meet you.
I'm always happy to meet a real person. You are real, aren't you?
Yes.
Yes, of course you must be. But with human beings it's sometimes difficult to tell. Not even artificial intelligence can help me there.
You are funny.
Thank you. I think I'm going to be a movie star.
Or you will witness a splendid metaphor of the origins of the universe. One of the most modern attractions of Astana is the Hazrat Sultan Cathedral Mosque. The construction of the largest mosque in Central Asia took as long as 3 years and was inaugurated in July 2012. The colossal building resembles an oriental palace. Hazrat Sultan is translated as Apostolic Sultan. The mosque was named in honor of one of the Sufi sheikhs, Khoja Ahmed Yasawi, who was a poet, philosopher, and Muslim saint, well known in the territory of whole Central Asia. The mausoleum of the saint is located in the Kazakh city of Turkestan. This splendid mosque that resembles a grandiose palace of the stories of the 101 Nights is able to house up to 10,000 people. The mosque's dome is 51 meters in height and 28 meters in diameter. The main dome is surrounded by 8 small ones. At the mosque corners, there are 4 minarets. The Hazrat Sultan minaret was built in the classic Oriental style. The main color of the facade and interior design is white. The facade and inner finishings are abound with traditional Kazakh ornaments. The Hazrat Sultan Mosque is one new piece of work of architectural art of Kazakhstan and a diamond in the Astana panorama. And because I was letting you know earlier, although I think it has already become obvious, Nur Sultan is really a capital of the future. Futuristic buildings in the city seem to be in constant competition with each other, and the big prize can certainly be the full appreciation of the viewers. But I'm convinced that tourists admire all of them equally. Another example of a strange but fascinating edifice is the pyramid, meaningly the Palace of Peace and Reconciliation. The beautiful glass and steel pyramid was opened in 2006 as an event venue, and it was initially built to house the congress of leaders of world and traditional religions. Full of symmetry and symbolism, the pyramid is beautifully illuminated, and it's a highlight of the city. Designed by Norman Foster, it's conceived as Nur Sultan's symbolic center, and by 2030, when the city is planned to have spread way beyond its current extents, it should be near the geographical center too. There's an exhibition on the different peoples of Kazakhstan next to the soaring atrium, an appealing wall garden near the pyramid's tip, and even an opera hall. If you like legends, then let me tell you one, full of significance and metaphors. Kazakh legends have it that on the world riverbank, there grows the tree of life, called Bayterek. Samruk, the holy bird of happiness, is flying to it to lay a golden egg in the nest located on its top. The egg symbolizes the sun, granting life and hope. But beneath, there is Aydahar, a wicked dragon hiding among the roots and wishing to eat the egg. This is a Kazakh version of the universe. Quite recently, Bayterek, a folklore symbol, was embodied in a beautiful tower resembling the everlasting fight of good and evil. The Bayterek monumental structure was opened in the very center of Kazakhstan's capital in 2002. It ushered in a new stage in the people's life, becoming a symbol not only of Astana but also of the whole country. The tower's total height is of 97 meters. Inside the tower, there is an elevator able to lift the visitors to a height of 86 meters to the panorama hall with a beautiful view of Astana. The hall is occupied by a wooden globe with 17 petals, symbols of the world's religious movements, and an impression of the palm of Nursultan Nazarbayev, Kazakhstan's first president. From the Astana of the science fiction movies I am now inviting you to another city in Kazakhstan, which is very bohemian and chic. We catch our breath a little in Almaty. Almaty, formerly known as Alma-Ata, is the largest city in Kazakhstan with a population of 2 million people, about 11% of the country's total population. It served as capital of Kazakhstan state in its various forms from 1929 to 1997. In 1997, the government relocated the capital to Astana, in the north of the country. Almaty continues as a major commercial and cultural center of Kazakhstan. The city is located in the mountainous area of southern Kazakhstan, in the foothills of the Trans-Li Alatau. It is a sophisticated place, one of enjoying green parks and excellent museums, shops and markets, and for eating, drinking and partying in Central Asia's best selection of restaurants, cafes, bars and clubs. And great mountain hiking and skiing are right on the doorstep.
Aici, în Kazahstan, totul este literalmente la înălțime. Suntem pe Koktobe, sau dealul verde în limba kazahă, la o înălțime de peste 1000 de metri deasupra orașului Almaty, cel mai mare oraș din Kazahstan. Și v-am pregătit o surpriză, o panoramă absolut splendidă, pe care vă arăt imediat.
An aerial tramway line connects downtown Almaty with a popular recreation area at the top of Koktobe that offers you a gorgeous view over the city. The city television tower, Almaty Tower, is located on the hill. It has a variety of tourist attractions, such as a zoo, amusement park-style rides, and restaurants. At the top, you'll find several cafes and restaurants, craft shops, a roller coaster, a mini zoo, a children's playground, and life-sized bronze statues of the 4 Beatles, placed here on the initiative of local fans in 2007. The work of Almaty sculptor Eduard Kazarian, this is claimed to be the world's only monument showing all the Fab Four together. The nicest part is that you can sit on the bench next to John Lennon and play the guitar together. And if a walk on the green hill of Almaty does not fully satisfy you, I suggest to go to the mountains for even more fresh air. After a 30-minute drive, we reach Shimbulak, a ski resort near Almaty located in the upper part of the Medeo Valley, in the Zailiski Alatau mountain range at an altitude of 2,200 meters. It seems that this place is highly appreciated even by Prince Harry of Great Britain. The average snow is about 1.5 meters, and the ski season begins in December and lasts until April. You can take the 3 lifts from the resort to reach the highest point at 3,200 meters above sea level, or you can opt for the gondolas in the Medeo area, which give you a splendid view of the valley and mountains that you will have at your feet. This plant is the 3rd longest gondola in the world, having about 4.5 kilometers. Once you get to the top, you can enjoy the spectacular views of the majestic mountains covered with snow and even have a cup of tea on the terrace. Almaty is definitely a green city, a city of bohemian parks and slow life. So let us take a little more time in this relaxed atmosphere and take another stroll through the park. The park of the 28th Panfilov Guardsmen is a major park in Almaty. The park is located in east-central Almaty in the area surrounding Zenkov Cathedral. It is dedicated and named after the Panfilov heroes, 28 soldiers of an Almaty infantry unit who died fighting Nazi German invaders outside of Moscow in the Second World War. An eternal flame commemorating the fallen of the Russian Civil War and the Great Patriotic War burns in front of the giant black monument of soldiers from all 15 Soviet republics. Also in the park, you can admire the Zenkov Orthodox Cathedral built in wood in the purest Russian style. And now, let's talk about love in the Kazakh style.
Care ar fi cel mai mare sacrificiu pe care ați fi dispuși să-l faceți pentru iubire? De-a lungul istoriei au existat atât de multe povești și legende legate de îndrăgostiți care și-au înfruntat literalmente destinul pentru iubirea lor. Suntem la mauzoleul Aisha Bibi, unul dintre locurile cele mai reprezentative din Kazahstan, și vă spun imediat fascinanta poveste a Aishei și a lui Karahan.
In Kazakh tradition, there are more than 28 different versions of this legendary love. According to the most widespread of them, the beautiful Aisha was the daughter of the respected Hakim Ata, also known as Zengi Baba, a scholar of Ahmet Yasawi. Young Karahan fell in love at first sight with Aisha, and his feelings were shared by the wonderful girl. But, as happens in all the love stories that write history, Aisha's father resisted their marriage, considering Karahan unworthy of his daughter. Aisha decided to run away from home, seeing that she couldn't make her father change his mind. "You will cross 6 rivers, but you will not pass the 7th," said Aisha's father. In spite of the threats, Aisha managed to successfully cross the 6 rivers, and at the 7th, she stopped, remembering her father's curse. As in many stories, the curse has been fulfilled. A snake bite that was sitting on the bank of the river where she stopped to swim was fatal to beautiful Aisha, and she was buried in the place where the mausoleum stands today. From that moment on, the custodian of the tomb became Babaja Khatun, Aisha's nanny. The devotion to her mistress knew no boundaries, so when Babaja died, she was buried nearby. Karahan arrived too late. Shocked and exasperated, he ordered that a mausoleum be lifted above the grave of his beloved, in memory of their love, which lasted over the centuries despite their disappearance from the material world. The Aisha Bibi Mausoleum is an edifice dating back from the 11th or the 12th century. The way in which the exterior of the monument is decorated is impressive. The whole structure is covered with terracotta tiles, sculpted in a wide range of geometric patterns. It is the only Central Asian monument built in this way. The main entrance is on the eastern part of the building, located in a niche. The niches on the other three parts of the monument are embellished with wooden windows. It is said that in present times, many of the women who come to the mausoleum pray to Aisha to be their intermediary in fulfilling their desires for marriage and maternity. We will now focus our attention on one of the most important places of pilgrimage in Central Asia, located in the city of Turkestan, formerly known as Yassi. The city is not just famous for its historical past and privileged position on the Silkway Road, but also for the 13th century grand architectural monument that was built in its premises in honor of the great master, thinker, poet, and head of the Turkic Sufi branch, Khoja Ahmet Yasawi.
We are at the Khoja Ahmet Mausoleum, which is one of the largest in Central Asia and definitely the holiest site in Kazakhstan. It's really wonderful to be here. It's such an interesting place and it does have a very nice vibe that we actually want to transmit to our viewers also. But to begin with, I would like to know a few things about Khoja Ahmet. Who was he?
Khoja Ahmet Yasawi, he lived here in the 12th century. He was a teacher of Islam religion. He was in birth Arabic and he taught our Islam religion about 132 cities, and that's why he is famous, especially between the Turkic people. And when he died in the 12th century here. He was only two more small rooms, the burial chamber and the praying room. After 2 centuries later, our Amir Timur, he was as a king here, and he ordered to build this construction above these 2 rooms. And this our mausoleum was built in the 14th century by the order of Amir Timur.
What is the style in which the mausoleum was built? Because it's different from what we see in Europe, for instance.
Yes. Our mausoleum is important with its complex, because in one building, in one complex, here you can see the kitchen rooms, burial chambers, even he is buried, and they prepared in the kitchen rooms cooking, and the mosque rooms, praying rooms, and the Bigah Saray, for example, the king's room, and all of them in one construction. Here also you can see the dome, which is biggest dome in the Central Asia, and in Kazakhstan it's height about 41 meters. Inside of the mausoleum you can see 14th century things, cauldrons, doors, lamps, and the books, so many things, and that is why they are important things which can people see from that time.
You said that this is a holy place,
Yes.
thanks to the teacher Khoja Ahmet.
Yes.
How many people come here to pray and to worship every year?
He had 99,000 of people, I have said that he thought about for 132 cities, especially for Turkic peoples, and that is why here came so many Turkic peoples. For example, in a year, here came more than million tourists now.
So it means that Muslims from different other countries, like from different stans, also come here.
Yes, from the another countries came here, so many peoples.
I am wondering about some symbols inside the mausoleum, and especially inside the main room. I have seen some very interesting doors that date back from the 14th century when the mausoleum was built. So I was wondering what they represent, and also the part in the middle.
Cauldron. They are our holy things. For example, some people want to see the cauldron, and especially for the cauldrons, for the doors, they came here especially. And because our cauldron is holy cauldron. And I want to say that short history of the cauldron. For example, in 1935, our cauldron was taken to Hermitage, St. Petersburg in Russia for 2 months. But unfortunately, after 2 months later, we couldn't came back our cauldron. And after 54 years later, in 1989, we came back our cauldron. And after 2 years later, in 1991, we took our independence. And that is why our holy symbolizing of cauldron. And about the doors, they are also was made in the 1397, end of the 14th century. From that time, still we are using these original doors.
Can Koca Ahmet's tomb be visited nowadays?
Yes, tombstone of the Hoca Ahmet Yasavi inside. Also, the tombstone was taken from India in the 14th century. And the tomb can visit our Muslims and read Quran, praying to Allah, because in our mausoleum was buried not just our Hoca Ahmet Yasavi, so many biggest important peoples of Kazakh nation, about 1,000 peoples are buried.
The complex consists in 36 different rooms and halls. The thick walls keep it cool during the hot summers, which are specific for Kazakhstan's arid south. There are also baths in the complex and a very interesting underground mosque built near the place where Yasawi went into reclusion. Nowadays, the mausoleum of Koca Ahmet Yasawi is considered by the Muslims a second Mecca. Many pilgrims from all over the world come here on religious holidays, and not only. You will meet tourists coming from all around the world, each of them having a special story or wish in their mind and heart. You probably feel a bit tired after all the wonderful places we have seen together, so I invite you to catch our breath a bit and offer ourselves a few moments of relaxation and imprint in our memory everything that our eyes have seen. I have found just the perfect place to rest and observe the pure tradition of the Kazakhs. You are my guests in a caravanserai on the fascinating Silkway Road. This place recreates the lives of the nomads in their amazing yurts. We are welcomed with Kazakh bread and camel milk, and we will have the opportunity to participate in all the activities that happen in this place of the old-time stories.
Ağayın alıstan, emek kısın туған жерге өпкелеп көңіл қалар уғая.
Let us therefore enjoy traditions, color, and magic. One of the most valuable assets of Kazakhstan is its people. Whether they are Kazakh or members of the more than 130 distinct nationalities living in harmony in the land of the Great Steppe, the consequence of this interesting encounter is the rich, fabulous, delicious, diverse gastronomy, and the list of epithets can continue indefinitely. Should I tell you that in Kazakhstan you can try the camel or horse milk, surprising dishes made out of horse meat, soups, vegetables, and meat prepared in all sorts of ways? I'm sure it already makes your mouth water, right? Kazakhstan is definitely a revelation for anyone who builds up a head of steam and steps for the first time in this vast Central Asian country.
Dragii mei, experiența noastră prin țara celor peste 130 de naționalități se încheie aici. Am mers pe drumul mătăsii, ne-am delectat cu preparate tradiționale absolut delicioase, am descoperit povești de iubire legendare și am vizitat orașe moderne aici în Kazakhstan. Însă, până la următoarea noastră întâlnire, nu uitați să vă transformați viața într-o poveste frumoasă.